You see it?
I did. Yeah, so welcome all to the Tactics Talk, Reedy. Busy couple weeks. Obviously, we're back now doing Tactics Talk ahead of Preston tomorrow night. First game. It's not a first game. It's another home game. You've got two on the bounce now. I think we're both going to have a few changes. There's going to be a few forced changes that we know of as well from McAteer and Vestergaard. Reedy, I guess let's just get things started. Who's in goal? Who's in goal for you?
I think there's obviously one choice, isn't there? Hermansen. I would have thought we saw Jacob a few more games, but I just see there's no other choices. Ward, no chance to be seen in the team. Iverson, surprised he's not gone out the door by now. Obviously, didn't go in the transfer window, so I'm surprised he's even still in the team. But like I say, Hermansen deserves his space, even though he did dodgy passing against Blackburn. He's our first choice, isn't he? So
yeah, I agree. I'd put him into my team as well as goalie. He did one bad pass, I think. Again, it's the style that we're going to play. That style, when you've got teams that do high press, does force errors, and in that case, it just forced an error from a lapse of judgment. But in the team where we probably should have beaten Blackburn anyway, we did go on to get 3 more goals. So it's not the end of the world. It's when it kind of happens, against your Hulls and we start to drop points where it becomes an issue. But we recovered well, and I think that's a lot of the difference from last year is when we would have made a mistake and gone 1-1, 1-0 down on whatever the score would have been, our heads would have dropped. And this season, that's not the case. So yeah, Hermansen back in goal, and he's done fairly solid now. Back three, we've obviously both got the same starting lineup positions because I think there's no point even trying to discuss anything different, because we know that's how we will be playing, because it will be playing the exact same style regardless of who's in the team. Not the end of the world, considering we've won every game bar one and we're top of the league, so you can't really complain. Who is going into your back three, Reedy, for Preston tomorrow night?
It's a bit difficult because obviously Doyle's out. Vestergaard has to be out now because obviously he's got too many bookings. So I think the main man who comes in for Vestergaard in that central role is only one man, and it's Cody. I think now it's kind of a forced change. I think there's no other player you could really fill into that role other than Cody. And hopefully, I don't know if it's hopefully, but maybe now he gets back into the main team for a championship game. Does he stay in that team now Vestergaard's been dropped in a way? Because I don't know how Cody comes back in. I don't think it's fair on Vestergaard to be dropped. But now he's been taken out of the team because he has to be. Yeah. Maybe this is where things convert to being Cody in there.
Well, I think we're all very happy with Vestergaard coming in and playing well after being in for the past couple of seasons. So I'm happy that he's come in and done a solid job after being left out of the team since we signed him a couple of seasons ago. But for me, I think Cody was brought in here to be that leadership, that main man in defence. He is probably someone that has dropped down to the Championship because he believes in Leicester and he wants to get game time. So I don't think he's going to, get out of the team. And again, I'm not saying Vestergaard should be dropped. There's Justin and there's Fies who are into the team that could potentially also be dropped. But because we're playing tomorrow night, really, we're also playing on Saturday. So there's a high chance Cody plays a full 90 minutes tomorrow. And you see Vestergaard back in the team, because every game pretty much from now up until January is 2 games a week. Mm-hmm. And even over the Christmas period, it's more like 3 games every 8 days. It's a really busy and packed in schedule to get a lot of the matches into the season. So I think you're going to see a massive rotation in between a lot of the players. And I think Vestergaard having, he's not allowed to play tomorrow because obviously he got 5 yellow cards. It's kind of a blessing in disguise to see what Cody can give in the Championship.
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, guys, make sure to comment your views on the team, or if you decide that you don't think our teams are right for the game. But get your views and comments in, and we'll keep going with the teams we're picking. So obviously, my back three, I've gone Cody into the central role, obviously because of Vestergaard being out. Left, I honestly do think it's going to be Justin. I don't think there's anyone else to put in that role. Obviously, you could probably say another defender, but I think because of how we set up when we go defensive, we have to have more of a left back kind of style player there.
Yeah.
Like Doyle's been playing as a left back. He's not a left back actual player, but he can fill in that role. So someone like Justin has to be in that role for me. Yes, it might be a bit of a injury worry because you know how injury prone he is. And then on the right side, I think there's only one choice as well, and it's FaZe because if I want to type it right, and I want to get it right again. I think he's just. I think to be honest, I think he's been one of our best defenders. Yes, he can have a bad game here or there, and I think Vestergaard has been our best defender. But at times, you can see the level of him is too good for the Championship. In a way.
Well, he was signed to fight for a top 8 spot in the Premier League, so to keep him around for Championship season, he's doing pretty solid. And you would expect a team like this to be doing pretty solid. And I'm straight up just going to say I agree. The exact same back three is what I do. I think that's the best team we've got at the moment. I think we're getting very solid at knowing our back three and who is the best players for that position. Obviously, Doyle out for a long injury is forcing Justin into the team and Doyle out. So I think we do need to be careful a little bit because we are pushing the limit what we've got. If we were to lose someone five, Justin, Cody, you're going to have to replace him with the likes of Harry Suter, who has not really been preferred. And again, if one of those things where do you trust Harry Suter to do a decent job in, fighting for a top position? And maybe he could, but obviously he's not preferred because he played in the cup game against Liverpool, and that's all he's done so far for us this season.
Yeah, and just to note on the back line before we do go into the midfield, I said it on the field show last night that we might have depth in a lot of areas in the team, but the defenders, we haven't got barely any. We've literally, like you said, we've got Suter and that's it. I don't think I can name another defender.
Well, with Doyle and Vestergaard, I mean, if Vestergaard comes back,
yeah, you obviously got the switcheroo of both Vestergaard and Cody. But that's the problem. If you lose one of the kind of left or right centre back in FaZe or Justin, you don't have that sort of replacement style of player there, do you? Really, Cody, I don't think we'll be able to fill in that left back role.
A long season. We have to be careful with who gets injured. Losing Doyle for 3, 4, 5 months is what we've heard is bad. McAteer as well. We'll get on to him a little bit more. Vestergaard again. He's picked up 5 yellow cards in 9 matches. So we do have some depth in place, but our best starting 11 can get quite thin if we pick up more injuries. And like I said, with Doyle out long term, we really can't afford for someone like Justin to get injured as well. So again, I agree with the same line. Again, midfield, I think straightforward. Who's in that centre? Again, I think we're going to have a pretty much identical team.
I don't even have to ask you, mate.
No, Winks is one and Pereira's the other one. I think that's fairly straightforward. Again, Hamza Chowdhury's done a pretty solid job as that backup role for Pereira. So again, I could see a switcheroo, as you would say, either tomorrow or Saturday with Chowdhury in tomorrow's match or in the Saturday's match and switching around with Pereira a little bit more to just again see what he's got and let the fitness build back up a little bit more because we have been playing a lot of games recently. But for me, I would start with Pereira.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. The team that you picked already is probably going to be my team again. Yeah. I think Winks and Ricardo has to be in that midfield. When it comes to maybe weakening the team to gain fitness on other players or just give them rest time, you probably would put the likes of Chowdhury. And like Andy says here, he can play at centre-back. Yes, he can. He can play in that centre-back role like he did against Norwich. But I think he is more suited to playing in that DM role. And like someone else says here, Scott also says that Chowdhury and Ndidi can play in that centre-back role. I guess they can, but I'm not too sure on putting someone like Ndidi back in that defensive role when he's been playing so attacking the last month or so. So I don't think it's probably the best move, Scott, but that's just my opinion. And then Michael does also say that Christensen and Thomas out on loan doesn't help. Hamza looks good as a defender as opposed to him in midfield. Yeah, I get what you mean. He did do well, Hamza, against Norwich, but then again, he is more of a defensive mid-role than a centre-back in some ways. But Sam, I'm going to put in my team now.
Yeah, keep going for it. I'm going to need to step out for a second, Reedy. You keep going.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm going to put my team in now. Pretty much the same as Sam's, really. I'll put mine in now. It is Harry Winks and Pereira. Obviously, I think most people are going to agree that that's how it's going to be set up this season. And I just think now we're going to the midfield because there's so much to choose from. This is where we've got so much depth. And I think this is where we have to kind of change things up each week because it is going to be difficult to work out who's going to be playing in what position going forward. But in my opinion, and this is me just going to say it right now, right cam, I'm going to go for Atgun. I feel like since he's been coming in the last few weeks, I think Atgun has done brilliantly in that more central attacking mid role. I don't think he suits the winger role anymore because I just think he's too weak. He's not fast enough. But in that more central attacking minded role, I think he's absolutely brilliant. And then on the right, in the left centre mid role, it's difficult because I've not been too impressed with Dewsbury at the moment. I really haven't. But I think does he just get in because of the loyalty of the club and being a young boy with the club? I think I'm going to have to, but I don't know. I'm gonna put Dewsbury all in. I'm not impressed because I don't think he's been too great, but he's gonna have to be in there just because of his name, and he is one of our own, isn't he? So I think there's no way of him getting dropped, unfortunately. Then going into the winger roles, obviously we'll go back to Sam's team as soon as he's back, hopefully. If not, then we'll have to just leave it. But going into my wingers, I am going to put Mavididi. I think he's just going to be the one to always be in that role, in that left wing role. I think he's our best winger we've got. I'm totally honest. He is the best winger we've got, in my opinion. And then on the right, this is a difficult one because obviously McAteer is obviously out 4 to 6 weeks, unfortunately, so he's not going to be able to be picked. And then you've got the likes of Fatawu, or who else you got? You got Marcel, but he's not been playing recently, so I think there's only one choice in that right wing role, and that is Fatawu, because he is the only option and the best option we have on that right wing now. Now McAtee's injured, so get your comments in and get your views in because that is probably the only way it's going to be set up. And then it comes down to the striker. So what is your opinion on the striker positions? Kel not scoring, but doing pretty well up front. Vardy scoring, but not getting as many touches. What is your kind of take going into the striker position? Because we've got 3 strikers, well, 4 if you count Cannon, but obviously he is injured. So who plays at that striker position? Like Andy says, not Daka. Unfortunately, it probably won't be Daka. So it's only between 2. In my opinion, the way we've been playing and the confidence-wise, the only option is to pick Vardy. I think Kel does all right in this style, but I just don't think he suits it enough to score goals enough, in my opinion. But it is what it is. That is my team. Sam, welcome back.
Hello, sorry, work crisis called. Apologies for that.
No worries. So I've obviously put my whole team in. I'm saying that I think Atgun, the last couple of weeks, I thought he's been absolutely brilliant in that more of a central attacking mid role. Yes, I've dropped in Didi, but I think he deserves a star after the performance he did against Norwich and against Blackburn. So I think he gets his place in there. And unfortunately, I have put Dewsbury all in. You know my opinion on him. I don't think he's been great. Yes, he's done okay. Yes, he's done okay, but I just feel like maybe it would help him to get dropped one game for him to come back in. And maybe I just don't see.
I think people pick on
enough.
him too much.
I don't see enough from him, in my opinion. But we'll all go into your
just
team
so
now.
He has created the most chances in the Championship, -1 player.
Maybe so.
Not maybe, definitely.
Let's get into
it. It is a fact. So.
Let's get into your team then.
Well,
for the
I'm
going to
put one of our star players of the season, Dewsbury, all in the team. I think he's been great so far. It solidified his place in that team. And I think he's just very creative. He knows what to do with and without the ball. He just needs a little bit more maybe of a football head in and around the pitch, maybe to pass when he needs to shoot and shoot when he needs to pass, but that will come with more game time. And I like that he's been creative and he is, forward thinking a lot more. He's up, the right side of the pitch and not looking to pass backwards. He definitely changed roles from last season rather than holding back. So, again, he's in my team. I understand about swapping around. For me, I like what Atgun has to offer. My only issue is his 25-game appearance, and we have to sign him. The more we play him as first team, the longer we can see him play. We're yet to see him play proper football. I don't think he's played many first-team appearances, maybe 2 or 3, maybe so far, and he's not impressed me massively. So I would stick with Ndidi because he's still here. And up to me, I don't think Atgun gets into the team just yet, especially against Preston, because they are technically, I think, the toughest team we're yet to face, 3rd in the league. If you look at it on paper, they are, the team closest to us, and it will definitely solidify the gap between us and them, 7 points difference. And here's hoping Ipswich, I don't know when they're playing, I think it might be tonight or something. Tonight. But if they can lose, we can know where we stand, and we could be 5 points clear from even second place. And this is where we really start to slip away. So for me, I play the best team available. Right side, I would have played McAteer, but obviously that's not an option for the next month and 2 months. So it is obviously a Fatawu. I think he's looked fairly decent so far. He's created some good chances. He's looked like a solid player. And, I think he's got something about him. He's very creative. And to join him on the creativity side is Mavididi on the left, who is also been doing fairly solid, fairly creative. I don't think he had the best game against... who did we just beat 4-1? Blackburn, thank you. I don't think he had the best game, but I think he looked pretty okay. And up front, for me, it would be Jamie Vardy. You don't stop a striker from scoring when he's putting them away. I know Iheanacho scored, but it was just a penalty. So for me, Vardy is fairly solid. He looks like he can still carry on. He's still got the legs in him. And yeah, that's my team. And breathe.
I think the only difference with our teams is literally Ndidi to Atgun. I think, it is. I think we've basically gone for the exact same team other than me just deciding to put Atgun in because I think he's deserved his space. Yeah. After the last few weeks, away games-wise, I thought he's been brilliant. I thought he's, as I say, the assist to McAteer last weekend was quite good for me. So I think he deserves his role, and if he doesn't do great, then someone like Ndidi does come on the pitch at 60th, 70th minute to see what he can do, because we know he is a threat in some ways up front. Yes, it doesn't sound right to say, but he is. He got a penalty against who did we just beat at home? Bristol City. He got the penalty there. So he can do stuff if he does come on the bench as well. But that's our team, guys. Make sure to comment your views. As it says on the screen here, please comment your views on our teams. Make sure to get your views in on all of our kind of decisions, and let us know what you want to be, or who wants to be in your team for tomorrow's game against Preston. So let us know, and we'll catch you all on the next show. Cheers, guys. See you in a bit.